That is the only negative thing about virtual seminars, the technical glitch. But
Anju ma'am, are we audible?
I can't see her.
No, she's there with the name Nishant Katyal.
She joined. Yeah, she's there. She's there.
Yeah, she's there. She's there.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah,
No problem.
now can you hear me? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I welcome all of you on the 10th lecture of Frontiers in Biomedical Research. In the new norm, the post-COVID era, it is a webinar series. But before that, we used to have Frontiers in Biomedical Research is as old as the ACBR was incepted in 1997-98. We started our first Frontiers in Biomedical Research, and it was almost a yearly event, and it was similar to a big fest going on at home. All our participants, our faculty, students, PhD students, master students, everybody used to participate with full zeal and full strength and used to enjoy the 2 or 3 days event. So now ACBR was incepted in 1991, but it became fully operational in 1997. And it was the first organization in the country to start MSc PhD program in biomedical sciences with a very competitive exam held at all India level. We used to have initial strength of about 20 students. Now the ACBR family has grown up and almost 60 students intake is now at present we have. So over the last 22 years, we have been very successful in attracting the talented students to research by providing them state-of-art infrastructure facility, the library facility. Although if you have visited the ACBR, it is a very small building, very small setup, but it is complete in the sense we have a very good library facility, we have infrastructure, the equipments are there, and the students, they are getting state of art ways of teaching are very I mean, we were the first one to start the teaching through like PowerPoint boards, and all those computer facilities were really good at that time, which was somehow was very few institutes in India had that kind of facilities. So now these students, they got a chance to interact with the leading scientists also, and then the faculty. They were, I mean, the ACBR was like a very close knit family, and the faculty and the students, they used to really interact, and faculty never left any chance to give the students the best education through best people. For that, we used to have a very close knit program with the adjoining institutes also, like INMAS, DIPAS, Patel Chest, IGIB, and we used to have several programs running through which the students, not only the master students, but the PhD students used to get a chance to work in those labs, and further on, they developed a career, as a result of which, over the years, I can proudly say that we have brought up quality manpower in the area of science by empowering the students at a budding stage for the masters as well as for the PhD students. And today, all over the world, our students are faculty or on research positions in government and the private labs. So as we know that this century has brought exciting period of biological sciences, and uh, uh, a tremendous development has taken place in the molecular medicine and the health sciences, and we are proud to say that the ACBR alumni have spread all over the world and are carrying out good research, as well as they are on the scientific and the administrative positions, and they are blinking the name of ACBR. So a complete biomedical research institute, I can say. Okay, so I'll highlight some of the programs of ACBR. The first ones, of course, we had in the initially when we were the intake was 20 students or 30 students, we used to have several fellowships. One of them was the Catch Them Young Fellowship, which was a very unique initiative along with CSIR to first intake was through a very kind of competitive program, and then these students were given fellowship in this Catch Them Young program. And along with that, we used to have, at that time only, we started a undergraduate research program, which under the banner of SERP. And in this program, we used to invite applications specifically from the undergrad students. So this was initiative to inculcate the scientific acumen in the undergrad students. Okay, so in addition to that, the master students used to get ample experience in the labs, research labs, and we have a 6 months research project. And along with that, the students also go to the labs in the summers. And as far as like research or ACBR, it works as a close-knit family, and the labs don't go by the name of the faculty, but they go by the research area. And all the faculty, I can proudly say we are 12 now. I think I'm counting it right. And all faculty, the research primarily contributes towards the translational aspect of the medical sciences and the biomedical sciences. Now, the translational impact can be seen by the overall citations of the publications. If we grossly talk about ACBR, as well as high H-index and the impact factor journals in which we are publishing. In addition, we are capable of transferring technologies for commercialization, and patents are being filed by our faculty. So, as far as the arena of research is concerned, the ACBR is able to we can segregate our not exactly segregate, but grossly describe our research in 5 avenues. Like one is the infectious disease and immunity, under which the faculties are involved in the identifying through systematic research. We are identifying the various diagnostic markers and identify the mechanisms of pathogenesis of some of the human diseases like malaria, TB, sexually transmitted diseases, urinary tract infections, and lately SARS-CoV-2 also is being covered in this research. So along with that, post-pathogen interactions are very finely covered, and we have several publications in this field, and which are being well cited. Then we have the other area is the neurodegeneration and neurobiology. Neurobiology of the diseases is very prominently followed up these days. So I'm proud to say our faculty is working on Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, stroke, dementia, epilepsy, etc. And we are studying about the various mechanisms of pathogenesis, as well as we are following the targets. So then the other area which we're working on is cancer, where we are focusing on understanding the cancer pathogenesis, the diagnostics, and the treatment strategies. And we have a very strong faculty in the chemistry, medicinal chemistry, and drug development field. So they are working in our diseases almost, and we have, by which we have interdisciplinary collaborations are quite good. Then the molecular diagnostics and drug discovery, which is involved in the identification of new targets, screening of the synthetic, semi-synthetic drugs, and isolation of the natural products against all these diseases, both the infectious and the non-infectious diseases, we are covering very well. So the ACBR, although we are a small family, but we have very firm intra-collaborations, and as well as the inter-collaboration within the university as well as abroad. So the ACBR is growing very well. It is very interesting to know about. I was just reading about today's lecture and the expertise you have. So this is the kind of area which we are not still covering, but it is very much prominently coming up these days, and how we can connect the various diseases with yoga and other exercises. And I think with today's lecture, I think we can very well proceed further in our research arena in a very impactful way. So with these words, I welcome Deepika ji again, and I pass on the baton to the Aparna for or Meenakshi to introduce the speaker. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, like we all know that we are breathing to live, and that is what I used to think before I met Deepika ji 1 month back, I should say, and I met her virtually. And after that, yes, I know that breathing is something that is entirely important, that is different. And from her, what I learned is that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you have to take care of yourself. She always stressed that we should take out at least 1 hour in the morning for ourselves, and we should do up breathing properly, because that is ultimately going to help us to get rid of all the stress and to handle our emotions and to get rid of our diseases. So as far as introducing Deepika ji is concerned, she has got 15 years of experience in consultation. She is from the corporate world, and it was due to some tragedy in her home that her husband was having some problem, because of which they went to Kerala for the treatment. And then she got so inspired that she herself did the training, and now she is an internationally certified yoga teacher from Shivanand, Kerala. And what I liked is, yes, she's taking different batches, and she is trying to help the people with her yoga skills. But what she is doing something for the society also, because now in COVID, she took 21 days free session for the people to tell them how to cope up with the post-COVID stress, or how to handle yourself during COVID, even if you are not suffering from COVID, how you should be positive, you should not be surrounded with the negative feeling. So with these words, I will just invite Deepika ji to share some knowledge with us on this platform, so that our students can also get benefited. Thank you, Deepika ji. Over to you. Deepika ji, you are not audible. You are not audible, Deepika ji. I'm sure no one can hear you, because I cannot hear you.
Yeah, you're not audible, Deepika ji. I think although she's unmuted, but you're not audible.
Yeah, you are unmuted, but I'm not able to. Means we cannot hear you.
She has to join again.
Yeah, Deepika ji, yeah, you can join again. Yeah, just once.
Okay, she had left. Might be she will be joining again.
No, Deepika ji, still not audible.
Deepak ji, are you there?
Deepika ji, no, you are not audible. Yes. Yes, Deepika ji, now you were audible.
मेरी आवाज आ रही है आप लोगों को?
हाँ हाँ, आ रही है, अब आ रही है.
Okay. Okay, my apologies. My headphones is kind of just betrayed me. Not a problem. So I hope everybody can hear me now. So namaskaram everyone, and thank you so much Meenakshi ji and ma'am for inviting me and sharing me, letting me share the experience here with everyone. So thank you so much for that. I will now start the session.
Good afternoon. Can see you, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. So, okay. Meenakshi ji, is my screen visible to everybody?
No, Deepika ji, we can't see your screen right now.
You can't see my screen, is it so? Can you see it now?
No.
Okay. Okay. You must be able to see it now.
No, Deepika ji, still not visible.
Still not? Okay.
I think visible now. Fully
You can
visible.
see. We can see Deepika.
Okay. If it's visible, okay.
Well, I cannot
Yeah.
see the screen.
Even I, yeah, it is visible now.
Okay. It's visible. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Now it's visible.
Okay, so we are going to talk about a very, very important topic here. It's visible? Okay. Thank you so much. So we are going to talk about a very important topic today, and the topic is death is life. So the way Meenakshi ji kind of explained, right now in the current situation, we all know how, we've never thought so, but now I'm sure that a lot of people and everybody is now realizing that yes, breathing is important. We need to have enough oxygen so that our cells and our internal organs are actually working properly. So in today's session, we are just going time and discuss and understand together the importance of breathing in our day-to-day life. So here on, I'll just quickly move on to what are the things that we are going to cover today. So we'll briefly touch upon what is yoga. Then we'll talk about pranayam, breathing and its importance, benefits of pranayam, components of breathing, and then at last we'll take a few questions. So the yoga definitely comes from the Sanskrit word yug, which means to yoga and is interpreted as union of mind, body, and soul. So there are right now there is enough emphasis, with everyone to act on yoga, and the primary reason for it is it actually brings in oneness. It keeps us centered. It actually has not only physical, mental, but it actually has a lot of benefits on our emotional being as well. So I will not spend too much time on what is yoga, because of course it is beyond my comprehension. The way it is much bigger term. I will quickly move on to the topic for today, which is pranayam. So one aspect of yoga is breathing and pranayam techniques. So what is pranayam? So let's understand this first. So pran is basically vital energy in our body, which is basically running the entire system. So it is also, we could say that there are a lot of involuntary movements in our body which are actually happening. So breath, if you see, is something which happens all on its own. You're not, until you bring in your focus towards it. हम सब breathing normally हमेशा करते रहते हैं, but ये हो कैसे रहा है? So the way this is definitely happening because there is some vital energy, there is pran within us which is enabling breathing. And on subtle levels, the way prana, it actually represents the pranic energy. It is actually responsible for life which is there within us, which is controlling our entire body, and ayam means control. So pranayam is basically controlling breath. Control of breath is basically pranayam. Then moving on to the next important thing. Why is breath so important? And maybe we've not realized this, but it is the first thing that we take when we actually get into this world, and that is the last thing that we take until when we go from this body. And this is only the constant thing which is there as our companion throughout. And even then, we are not able to bring in enough heat to it. We are generally, very, very casual. We're not able to bring our attention to it. But it is the most important thing. Without breath, there is no life. And COVID times had made us realize this thing, very nicely, that as humans, and as any living being, for us specifically as humans, what is the importance of breathing, what is the importance of oxygen, and how vital it is. Moving on to another important topic. What impacts our breath? So do we know that, in day-to-day life, the way we live our life, that can actually have an impact on our breath. And a breath in turn can have a lot of impact on how our various internal organs are working. So what is it? What impacts our breath? And this is something that we can actually relate pretty easily. Whenever you are stressed, whenever you are angry, you will see that your breath, you're actually breathing in much faster. The people who get anxiety attacks, they're not able to breathe in properly. So there are various day-to-day things which actually have a lot of impact on our breathing patterns, and we do not realize it. So it is time that we bring our attention, our awareness to how our breath is impacted. So daily stressors, anything, किसी ने कुछ बोल दिया, डांट पड़ गई घर में, या किसी ने कुछ बोल दिया जो हम सुनना नहीं चाहते थे, suddenly it just kind of, our mind is all over, we don't know where, we're just angry. Any kind of tension definitely impacts. Physical habits, the way we sit, most of the time in today's world, because of technology piece, we're already, we're all the time on a mobile, hunching our backs, and when you're working on laptops, again our shoulders are hunched. Again, we're actually reducing our lung capacity. We're not breathing in fully. So all of these things can create physical and energetic obstacles in our body. And of course, simple thing. If you have something, if you restrict something, the passage of something, uska rasta ruk jata hai. Similarly, breathing is impacted by all of these things. अगर हम tense होते हैं तो हमारी muscles एक different तरीके से react करती हैं. If you're really tense, you can see sometimes you just freeze. For some people, they will have suddenly उनके shoulders stiff हो जाते हैं. आपको पता नहीं चलता, but unconsciously there is lot of impact on muscles of all the whatever we are actually going through in terms of our experiences and emotions. So without even noticing, our breathing can become gradually more shallowed or stilted, and we develop unconscious breathing patterns restricting the flow of breath and prana throughout the body. So this is one thing. It's very important, first of all, to be aware of this. And it is just one simple thing, that we bring attention to ourselves and see how am I breathing. Just see that, and it will help us connect to our body and our breath. Just quickly, very easily, you can just connect. So how do we kind of get over this? Because everybody is supposed to go through this. It's life, and we'll have ups and downs. And it is not possible, until unless we've actually attained a certain level of discipline, it is not possible to be kind of just be neutral to all of the different situations in life. So we will continue to face all of this. But how do we manage? How do we kind of see that, we can actually get our breath right? So when we work on freeing the breath through pranayama, through breathing exercises, then we are actually allowing our life energy flow to happen more freely. it actually has lot of effect of energizing us, helping us relax, heal our body, and just just with deep long breaths, the entire body in everything starts falling in place. And you will see when your body is it is said that, and people here would know this much more than me, the psychosis, which is not psychosis, the homeostasis, which is the state wherein the entire body is in tandem, is in complete ease with each other, and which each and every organ and body part, it is then a body functions most effectively. So through breath, with controlled breathing, with we can actually achieve lot of energy, we can achieve lot of relaxations, and we can heal our body completely. I'm not saying that the disease is something that you can that completely eliminate, but it can still help in lot of things. So moving ahead, benefits of pranayama, and these are very, very generic things. We all will know this, but maybe we've not kind of given enough importance to it. So again, I'll just call out some of these things. With regular and sustained practice, of course, it requires discipline, because without this, we cannot achieve the results of pranayama. It can actually help us supercharge our whole body. Pranayama techniques can actually strengthen our respiratory organs, and it is no it is not hidden right now. Medical doctors are now suggesting us in the COVID times that we have to do breathing techniques. It can it will not avoid you getting COVID, but it will definitely help you just go through it in a little much more easier way. You can recover better if your respiratory organs are working properly. They are strong, our lungs are stronger, they can fight better, they can react to different situations which are going through during COVID. They can actually respond much better. So through pranayama, we actually explore what are the different parts of the breath, and how do we kind of regulate it through inhalation, retention, and exhalation. Another very important aspect of pranayama is that it can stimulate the parasympathetic system, countering the overstimulation our bodies go through the fight or flight response. And this is something which we all of us go through, like every now and then. If somebody says something which we don't like, we are immediately in a fight mode. And there might be things which we don't like. So every time our body is reacting without even knowing us, our body is actually getting overstimulated. So whenever it is said that if you're in a stressful situation, just take a long deep breath and just try and relax. And suddenly you just start getting more and more control of yourself. So, and then needless to say, the other most important benefits of pranayama is that it actually has a very positive impact on the lifespan. And this is again a very simple example for us, that if you just look at different beings, like if you just see that dog breathes 30 to 34 times per minute. If you just look at the breathing system, and the lifespan of a dog is 12 to 15 years. If you look at a horse kind of breathes 24 to 26 times per minute. Lifespan is 20 to 30 years. Human, if they are breathing, most of us are breathing much faster than this, but if they are breathing 12 to 18 times, they can actually have a lifespan of 80 to 100 years. Of course, your other lifestyle and other things have to be also kind of accounted for, but this is in general. And then snake has a very slow breathing pattern. They breathe 8 to 10 times per minute, and they have a lifespan of 120 to 150 years. A tortoise basically breathes 4 to 6 times only per minute, and has a lifespan of 300 to 500 years. And we would have, when we actually go to a lot of museums and we try and see, oh, kitna purana hai, itna purana hai, then so this is something which actually has a very, you can see a direct correlation here. So inverse correlation hai, but it is, you can see this, that that every time the people who are, the individuals or the live beings who are actually breathing have a slow breathing pattern, they have a longer lifespan. And then the other benefits of pranayama is that it definitely provides a lot of relaxation to body and mind. So if you have not done, then you should definitely try Shavasana. Some days when you have not slept, you're really tired, just lie down, hands apart, legs apart, and you inhale on a count of 4 and you exhale on a count of 8. Do that and you will see suddenly your entire body, mind is actually, you're getting completely relaxed. So it really provides very good relaxation to body and mind. It also helps in blood circulation, improves concentration, digestion, lungs capacity, and energy levels. It has also been proven beneficial in prevention and management of some of the other diseases like blood pressure, stress, anxiety, stomach disorders, hyperacidity, depression, heart problems, cancer, and so many other health issues. So definitely it has a lot of benefits. Now, in terms of pranayama, what are the key components of breathing? So these are like few components that we actually say, which are generally part of when we are actually doing controlled breathing and when you're actually doing pranayama. We have something called puraka, which is basically inhalation. When we inhale, it is a state, or it is a phase which is called purak. And then when we exhale and breathe out, it is called rechak. When we hold the breath or retain the breath, it is called kumbhaka, which is inside the body. And when we exhale and still hold the breath, it is opposite of kumbhaka, it's called bahya kumbhaka. And prana, of course, when it is traveling from different parts to different parts, then it has different names. In yoga, it's called prana from throat to heart. It's called apana from umbilical to toes. It is called vyana, the entire energy system in the body and the cell. And it is called udana in throat and upwards. And it's called samana between heart and umbilical. So this would get a little more technical, but just for everyone's understanding, when we actually inhale, it's basically puraka. When we held the breath inside, it's called kumbhaka. When we exhale, it's called rechaka. And when we held it out, then it is called shunyaka. And this is something which is further taught, when we actually do pranayama. It is important to see that it's all scientific, it's all working in a very, very logical manner. It is just that we need to bring our attention to it and we see that how it is actually working beautifully. So if we just, what are the mechanics of breathing? Very simple. So if you see this, when we inhale, our upper region, so basically you can see we have lungs, and then just below lungs, this is entire thoracic region, and then just below it we have diaphragm. So diaphragm separates the thoracic area from the abdominal area. So just below this is abdominal area, this is your thoracic area, and this is your diaphragm which is separating. So when diaphragm moves, when we inhale, your diaphragm would come down and automatically your stomach should come out. And when you exhale, your stomach would just go in and your diaphragm would expand and your stomach would just go in. So this is very simple breathing, but many a times what happens, the impact of day-to-day stress, impact of various situations, life situations we all go through, our breathing pattern gets distorted. We are mostly doing shallow breathing. What happens in shallow breathing? We are not inhaling completely. The oxygen is not going to each and every body part, and we are neither exhaling properly. So the carbon dioxide still stays within the body, and your body parts are not getting enough oxygen. So when we talk about pranayama or yogic breathing, it basically helps us correct our breathing pattern. It helps us that how, just by bringing the consciousness, how we can correct our breathing. So I will not spend too much of time on this, but this is a very simple practice, and we will just try this in few minutes. On when we'll do a little more, we will just experiment abdominal breathing in few minutes. So this is again what is breathing in and what is breathing out. I just shared that is the movement of diaphragm. If you just relate with that, you could see that when you inhale, your diaphragm is pushed downward. Your chest and your entire thoracic region should be filled with oxygen. Again, supplying oxygen to rest of the body part. When you exhale, your diaphragm relaxes and it moves up backward, and then you just exhale. So your lung volume increases when you inhale and it decreases when you exhale. Very simple thing, right? So this is something, if we just bring our attention to it, it's very interesting. That, and I will not cover this, but that, you all would know this already, that there is, what is the difference between respiration and breathing. So I'll just move on to this topic. Respiration, of course, is happening in cells. This will be breathing, which is actually happening in your nose, mouth, and your pharynx region. So there are different kinds of breathing techniques that we actually recommend. One of the most important breathing technique is Nadi Shodhan. So pranayam basically is the practice of breath control, as we have discussed, and Nadi Shodhan or alternative nostril breathing is an example of this practice. There are various kinds of pranayam which can be practiced as we graduate, but of course there has to be an environment in which this is done correctly. So for example, if you're in an environment which is polluted, then pranayam is not recommended there, because then you are actually filling in the oxygen which is not right for your body. So there are certain conditions, but one pranayam practice that we all can actually do is Sukha Kriya. But before that, I will just would want you all to experience what is the correct form of breathing. So as I've just shared with you all, and I will just recommend, if you can switch on your videos, that will be perfect. I am just going to demonstrate, and I would want you all to check whether your breathing patterns are right or not. Because with this, we will ensure that आप अपने body में enough oxygen के लिए जगह बनाते हैं या नहीं बनाते हैं, या हमेशा shallow breathing करते हैं. तो इसके लिए हम क्या करेंगे? इसके लिए सिंपल चीज करेंगे. आप अपना राइट पाम चेस्ट पे रखेंगे और आपका जो लेफ्ट है वो आप स्टमक पे रखेंगे, just below your diaphragm, the upper abdomen region. Okay, so this is how we all will do this, like this. Okay, and lift your shoulders up and then roll them back. Gently close your eyes. Close your eyes, everybody. If you are wearing specs, please remove the specs. Okay. And then inhale on a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then exhale again on a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And जब आप inhale और exhale करेंगे, we recommend the exhalation should always be double the duration of inhalation. But अभी आप लोगों को सिर्फ पहले बता रहे हैं, तो आप same count रख सकते हैं. आपको ये चेक करना है कि जब आप सांस लेते हैं तो आपका पेट ऊपर आता है या अंदर जाता है. ठीक है, तो ये चेक करने के लिए आपको आंखें बंद करनी है और एक बार फिर से 4 के काउंट पे इनहेल करना है और 8 के काउंट पे एक्सहेल करना है. एंड देन यू हैव टू चेक वेदर जब आप इनहेल करते हैं तो आपका डायफ्राम नीचे आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है, और अगर नहीं आ रहा है तो आप कॉन्शियसली एफर्ट डालेंगे कि आपका डायफ्राम बाहर आए और पेट बाहर की तरफ आपका आएगा. और जब आप सांस छोड़ेंगे बिल्कुल धीरे धीरे तो आपका पेट विल श्रिंक बैक लाइक अ बलून and your diaphragm is relaxing. Okay, so we will do this now. आप सबने चेक कर लिया होगा. अब किसी का ठीक होगा, किसी का ठीक नहीं होगा. आप ये प्रैक्टिस लेट के भी कर सकते हैं कि आप 4 के काउंट पे इनहेल करें और 8 के काउंट पे एक्सहेल करें. बट अगर आपका एक्सहेलेशन छोटा है अभी तो आप 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 तक कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, तो अब ये करने के लिए वी विल अटेम्प्ट दिस वन मोर टाइम. एवरीबडी क्लोज योर आईज. I'm going to give you count and I will just request you all to just follow the instructions, okay? Just lift your shoulders up, roll them back, close your eyes, keep your right hand on your chest, left hand on your stomach, whatever works best for you or either. And then inhale on a count of 4, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale on a count of 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Again, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, inhale, fresh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale on a count of 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time. Inhale on a count of 4 and exhale on a count of 8 one more time. The reason we do the duration of our exhalation should be double so that we exhale carbon dioxide as well as other various gases which gets created during various other chemical reactions in the body, and we create space for oxygen, fresh oxygen for each and every organ of our body. Okay, very nice. Gently drop your hands and relax, everybody. Meenakshi ji, we can take up any questions if there are so.
If it is okay, can I take the questions?
Please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Well, very interesting. And I also enjoyed, liked it. I just have a thing to let you know, maybe I think you know or not. Many of my colleagues, I had given a book to my colleagues, which I had written some time back about, not yoga, but about the, Vedic literature. So in one of the, in that book, page number 91, if you have the book, if you don't, then you can just select it. There are the, Vedic mantras which talk about it. The one is Bhuragnaye Pranaye Swaha. When we do this Havan, we put this, oblation in the Havan Kund and we say Bhuragnaye Pranaye. So there, I just have given the English translation in this book, which is with me right now. And I think I had given to my colleagues at that time. We say that.
Is this the question?
It's the question, it's the answer is also there. It's question and answer. It is in addition to what she said, I want to add. And then there are questions after this. So there are 4 oblations which we give every time when we do this Havan Puja. So those who have books, they can just look into it, that the Om Bhuragnaye Pranaye Swaha, Om Bhurvaya Apanaye. So the one Vyanaye Apanaye, you had told that, no? So that Pran, Apan, Vyan, Udan, all these things are in the 4 mantras. So Bhurvaya Apanaye Swaha, all these 4 mantras are there which are recited every day when we do Havan Puja. So it's there. And the meanings, they tell us that how to, control the circulation of air inside your body in these 4 mantras. And that we speak at least 8 times while performing this thing. Now, my question is that when you say that pran you are saying is, I'm not clear. Pran is oxygen. Is it oxygen?
Pran is vital force of life, Pratibha ji. It's not oxygen, it is basically vital force of life which is there in us. And that is something which is enabling the involuntary movement of oxygen or carbon dioxide or various other gases. When we breathe in, it is the prana which is enabling this automated, this is involuntary. Nobody is enabling it.
See, I just have a conflict onto it. That is why I have asked the question. To me, the understanding of prana is the combination of oxygen and your vital body. Because anyone is not there, it will not work.
Correct.
So
It
to
is
me,
the carrier. It is
Yeah.
बिल्कुल
So-
सही बोला आपने.
the product is energy.
Correct. बिल्कुल सही बोला आपने. Prana
Product is
basically
energy.
is the carrier of oxygen.
So
Prana
we
is
have to. So what is pran? Then we say is not just oxygen. It is oxygen and our body. There, that's what we want to do. You know, we want to control. So this is what was my question. So I thought I'll share. Maybe I might also be having, because it's not my area. You are doing it, so it's not my area. So I just thought that I'll clarify what is oxygen. That's what I always thought, that pran is the combination of our body or any human body or any instrument, body instrument of in all over places, and plus oxygen, which we are inhaling. So if we combine, then it becomes pran, and then the control of body and the oxygen, that gives a product which is called energy. So of course, when we do this, we also have a control of energy. This is what I thought, but please continue. My question was that I don't know if I am right, or you just have to tell if I am correct or not.
So Pratibha ji, आपका interpretation है बहुत interesting है, but and it is very much in line to what it is, the way we see this and what is written in basically in the Vedas and things like that. Basically, prana is the carrier, is basically the vital force which is carrier of oxygen. And at the end of the day, what is happening is that this prana is actually enabling the travel of oxygen to different parts of the body. And when we talk about pranayam, it is basically we are regulating our breathing by doing controlled breathing, controlled inhalation, controlled exhalation, retention. What we are doing, we are basically जो regulate कर रहे हैं जो भी हमारा breath है. And definitely when prana is there and oxygen, and then you have your all the biochemical reactions wherein basically, which is basically the respiration process, which is actually happening where the energy is being generated. That is what is basically respiration, wherein your oxygen is breaking your glucose, and then your energy is being generated.
One more question I have here, which is which I don't know. I hope I get some answer. The question is that, you know, is the pranayam only thing to be done, you know, to maintain our body system, or we need to do some other, you know,
We need to do something.
yoga exercises, which we call yoga exercises.
We should.
Pranayam is meditation, but yoga exercise. So I'm just asking, is it enough to just do the pranayam, or we do have to carry some of the yoga exercises?
So pranayam is basically part of yoga, one part of yoga. And definitely there are physical aspects are there which are to be taken care of. There are yamas and niyamas which are all to be taken care of. How we are living our life, how we are eating, how we are moving.
Can you please explain 8 yamas? You just have mentioned in there.
Right, 8 yamas. I would not have them handy right now. Like I don't remember them on my tips, Pratibha ji. But surely some days I can kind of spend some time with you and I can help you understand, or with respect to what are the yamas. But some of them which are there, we have ahimsa, we have satya, asatya, then we have brahmacharya, then we have aparigraha, which is basically you know, just being detached with any of the things, and
I think from the session, it's called Breath is Life. So I think we should stuck to it and, you know, ask the question regarding the same.
All right, thank you so much. I just take it off and over to Dr. Parna and you know, or Dr.
no, but
anyone, please.
No,
Thank
but-
you so much.
yeah, Pratibha ji, but I would want to read your book. So I would want to
I'll
know.
send you the soft copy. I do have the soft copy.
I would want to read your book, and thank you for asking the questions. I will not have answers to all the questions, but
Surely
surely
a lot of them in there. But
I will
anyway,
get back to you.
it's fine. I can just send you the soft copy. You never mind, no problem. Please take it. Thank you so much.
Help me get the book. I would want to read it.
Sure.
Right, Divya, yeah. I'll
Me too.
send it to
Well,
you.
this is not a platform to advertise because it's not for selling purpose. It was my personal, so I just gave to personal. Nothing in advertisement in here. I'll just send you the soft copy because I just had done it for the public only. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank you so much, Pratibha ji.
sure.
Deepika ji, I want you to ask something like we are always sitting on the chair, right? We all are academician taking lectures, students are learning lectures. So if you can tell just one or two exercises to de-stress ourselves in the daytime whenever we are working or whenever we are free for some time, that will
Sure.
be helpful for all, I think.
Sure. I would
Till the
just
day we-
sure. Meenakshi ji, I would recommend two things. First of
Yeah.
all, every half an hour, every 45 minutes, please get up from the chair, lift your both arms up, and start doing walking in Tadasana, which is you come up and you start walking in Tadasana. So basically, just come up and come up on your toes and start walking around. So this is one thing, like just come up on your toes and start walking within the room, lifting your body, activating your calf muscle. That is one practice I would just recommend. Second practice I would recommend is that when you're actually sitting in a chair, just sit on the edge of the chair and correct your spine, the posture. Try and sit straight. Okay? And take your right palm and जो आपका chair का left side होता है उस तरफ रखेंगे, दूसरा हाथ पीछे करके we will just twist to the right side, come back in the center, and then again do the twisting towards the left side. This is one. So two practices. Third is very simple practice. Lift your shoulders back, roll them back. Again, lift your shoulders, roll them back. Lift your shoulders, roll them back. And then opposite. Again, just take your shoulders and roll them back. Other thing is that sometimes we keep on sitting in chair and पूरे टाइम घुटने मुड़े होते हैं. कई बार आप ये कर सकते हैं, आप चेयर की एज पे बैठेंगे और दोनों पैरों को सीधा करेंगे. And then again just lift your right feet up few inches above and then bring it down. फिर लेफ्ट को उठाएंगे और फिर नीचे लेकर आएंगे. So ये प्रैक्टिस कुछ छोटी छोटी प्रैक्टिसेस आप कर सकते हैं. सबसे अच्छी प्रैक्टिस जो मैंने एक्सपीरियंस किया, सबसे ज्यादा जो हेल्प करता है कि आप एवरी हाफ एन आवर 45 मिनट्स एक अलार्म लगाएं अपने मोबाइल पे, क्योंकि हमेशा होता है हमारे पास, और उठें और ताड़ासन में जहां पर भी हैं वहीं पे वॉक कर लें. So this is one thing which will keep our spine active. It will ensure that we are resting, giving rest to our glutes muscles. सारे नहीं तो they're already overstretched because हम बैठे रहते हैं, and postural issues तो automatically आते रहते हैं because we're already working like this on the laptop. So ये कुछ छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं जो कर सकते हैं, and that will be helpful. And do 4 and 8. Simple. Sit and do 4 and 8. This is, you can always do it. We're already breathing all the time. अगर आपको कभी भी कुछ अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, not feeling good from inside, because there's so many things happening. आजकल सब कुछ होता रहता है. We're not feeling good. I would recommend कि आप अपने classes में, अपने friends के साथ, just do this simple thing. Just sit and do this breathing for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and suddenly you will see that you will start feeling good. Okay? Any other questions, Meenakshi ji, or anyone else?
Yeah, one of the student. Okay, Aparna, yeah.
It's not me, someone else maybe. You can ask the
one of-
question, Meenakshi.
Yeah, one of the student was asking, should we breathe more slowly to get maximum benefits?
Slow breathing definitely has a lot of benefits. So if you can slow down your breathing, that will definitely have a lot of impact. So you inhale and then you exhale. Always try and see that your exhalation should be double the duration of your inhalation, so that you empty out all the carbon dioxide. When we do shallow breathing, unconscious breathing, अभी किसी ने पूछा कि conscious breathing का क्या, what is conscious breathing? So basically conscious breathing is that we are not aware. तो जब आप अवेयर नहीं है तो वो अनकॉन्शियस हो जाता है. जब आप उसको ऑब्जर्व कर पा रहे हैं तो आप कॉन्शियसली कर रहे हैं. अगर आप अभी ध्यान देंगे तो आप कॉन्शियस हो गए. सिर्फ आपको अपना ध्यान लेकर जाना है कि हाउ एम आई ब्रीदिंग, दैट इज कॉन्शियस. जैसे आपका ध्यान चला जाएगा और आप किसी और चीज को देखते रहोगे, या कुछ कर रहे हैं हम एंड हमारा ब्रीदिंग वो होगा ही होगा, बट एवरी टाइम every few seconds we can just bring our attention back to a breathing and just correct the breathing pattern. कि जब हम इनहेल कर रहे हैं तो पूरा जा रहा है ना, मेरा डायफ्राम नीचे पुश हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, ये चेक कर लीजिए. और जब आप धीरे धीरे एक्सहेल कर रहे हैं तो आप सब कुछ एक्सहेल कर पा रहे हैं या नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, बिकॉज बहुत सारे गैसेस और भी होते हैं हमारे बॉडी के अंदर बिसाइड्स कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. तो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एक तो ठीक से नहीं निकलता, वो जगह नहीं छोड़ता है फ्रेश ऑक्सीजन के लिए, बिकॉज वही बैठा हुआ है. उसके अलावा दूसरी भी गैसेस होती है. सो इफ वी जस्ट एम्प्टी इट कंप्लीटली, देन ओनली वी कैन क्रिएट स्पेस फॉर द न्यू स्टफ ना, नहीं तो कहाँ बनेगा. How can then meditation be done while doing conscious breathing? So meditation भी कई तरह के होते हैं, बट जब आप मेडिटेशन करते हो तो आप तब भी ध्यान करते हो, you are bringing your awareness to a certain point. And breathing is definitely constant, स्मृति जी. बट जब आप रेगुलरली एक पैटर्न में ब्रीथ करने लगते हैं तो आपके मसल मेमोरी में आ जाता है वो, आपका ब्रीदिंग पैटर्न ऑटोमेटिकली वैसा होता चला जाता है. तो अगर आप कंट्रोल ब्रीदिंग करते रहते हैं और आपका ध्यान रहता है तो धीरे धीरे आपका ब्रीदिंग पैटर्न काफी ठीक हो जाता है. और जब आपका ब्रीदिंग पैटर्न ठीक होगा, इट एक्चुअली हैज लॉट ऑफ पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट ऑन आवर थॉट प्रोसेस, ऑन हाउ वी आर थिंकिंग. अगर आप कभी बहुत परेशान हैं तो आप अपने आप को थोड़ा सा 5 मिनट के लिए सिर्फ अपना पूरा ध्यान सिर्फ ये देखिए, अपने नॉस्ट्रिल के पास में यहाँ पर अपना ध्यान लाइए और इनहेल करिए 4 के काउंट पे और एक्सहेल करिए. It helps me when I am anxious or something goes wrong, and when I try and do this, it really calms me down. So I've experienced this firsthand myself, and you can experience this on your own. Just do this. Nothing difficult, nothing technical. Very simple. We are always, till the time we die, we are breathing. This one thing is one companion which is there with us. How we keep it shallow, full, whatever it is, but it is always there with us.
Okay, there's one more question. Does it make any difference when we breathe through nose or mouth? Which is better?
It is preferred if you breathe through nose, because naturally आपका nose क्या करता है, एक तो वो आपके जब आप ऑक्सीजन लेते हो, आपके जो हमारे नोज में हेयर्स होते हैं वो डस्ट वगैरह को वो आप उसको साफ करता है. दूसरा वो एयर को वार्म भी करता है, ऑक्सीजन को. और जब वो अंदर जाता है, that is the right way of breathing, because that is the most appropriate thing. Oxygen is in the most appropriate state, I would say, because जब आप inhale कर रहे हो nose से, वो clean होता जाता है, warm होता जा रहा है, and then it is adapting to your body temperature. जब आप मुंह से breathe करते हैं तो of course everything goes in, and then of course it has its own impacts. Your body has a certain temperature, in which this is we say that body का खुद का एक temperature होता है. तो अगर कभी बहुत ठंडा खा लेते हैं या बहुत ज़्यादा गर्म खा लेते हैं तो उसके भी impacts होते हैं. तो oxygen is the food for us. If we inhale through nose, it is the best. But when we're doing different kind of activities, then of course it can change and it should change. But normal breathing is preferred to be done through nose.
So, are there any more questions?
Okay, so there are questions on hypothyroidism. There are questions on meditation.
And eye exercise.
And eye exercise.
Yeah.
So one simple eye exercise we all can do is this 4 directional eye movement. We can always do this practice. Like there are 4 directions in which you can just sit and just do this practice. One is you just look up. Your neck is still parallel to the floor. You just look up. And then you look down. Again look up. Again look down. Look up. Look down. 3 cycles of this practice. And then to the right. Then right up and then left down like this. So right up, left down. Right up, left down. right up, left down. Then the same practice in this direction. Left up, right down. Left up, right down. Left up, right down. So this is one. Then the circular movement, like take it up to the right, down, and then left. And then do this 3 times, and then the opposite one. And then opposite. And then very important, rub your palms till the time there is heat getting generated. Make a cup and then do palming. One more practice we recommend is called sun gazing. So early morning when the sun is rising, or when the sun is actually in the evening during sunset, before sunset, like just maybe half an hour before sunset or an hour before sunset, when the sun is not very strong. Sun gazing is a very, very effective exercise or practice for our eyes. So these are few practices. And for meditation, I would recommend that there are a lot of meditations which are available. Sadhguru's meditations are available. You can do those. And then simply, if you can't do anything, just sit straight and just try to keep your focus on your breath, on your nose, when you're inhaling and when you're exhaling. The significance of rubbing the palm is that there's a lot of energy in our palms, lots and lots of energy. So when you rub your palm, you're generating that energy, you're generating that heat. And this is very relaxing for your eyes. This energy, when you actually do palming on your eyes, on your face, this is very, very relaxing. Any other questions? For sleep cycle, yes, there are practices that we can do, and it can help us regulate the sleeping pattern. But sleep is much more than any practices. It's also your lifestyle, what you're eating, when you're eating, what you're doing. So some of those things we kind of also study and try and understand, and then we kind of recommend some of the practices that one can do to kind of overcome sleep disorders. Meenakshi ji, any other questions?
No, I think Deepika, there is no more questions. So yeah, there is one question. In sports, for faster pace, inhaling through nose and exhaling more through mouth is advised. So is it okay? That is what the student is asking, Ravish.
Yeah. So in sport, that's what I said. There are some physical activities in which the breathing pattern has to be. It is supposed to be, fast breathing. It is just happening in the clavicular region. So there it is fine. So when you're actually inhaling, and sometimes when they ask you to exhale through mouth, it is fine.
Yeah. So now I request Dr. Aparna to thank the speaker. And there's one more. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can say, Aparna.
Is yawning a good sign while breathing?
I don't know.
You're stretching off your mouth, your oral cavity and muscles, which is fine.
See, I'll tell you what. You yawn, you smile. Breathing करते हुए अगर हो रहा है तो इसका मतलब आपको नींद आ रही है. आप breathing करेंगे उसके बाद अच्छी नींद आ जाएगी आपको. So that's fine.
There will be never-ending questions. They're going on and on.
No, but interacting with this group, Meenakshi ji. Thank you so much for inviting.
Right, because we have a lot of students, so they will have a lot of curious questions. So this is similar to their sleep cycle or biological clock they're talking about balancing. How to balance our biological clock.
One important thing is just simple thing. Fix a time for your sleeping. अगर आपको अपना biological clock ठीक करना है, तो एक simple चीज़ है कि जब आपने सोचा है कि मुझे रात को 10 बजे सोना है, तो आपको अपने लिए environment create करना पड़ेगा. Light बंद कर दीजिए, TV 1 घंटे पहले बंद कर दीजिए. मोबाइल को भी साइलेंट मोड पे डाल दीजिए एंड देन लाई डाउन. हो सकता है आपको फर्स्ट डे नींद नहीं आएगी, सेकंड डे नींद नहीं आएगी, थर्ड डे नींद नहीं आएगी, फिर धीरे धीरे आपकी बॉडी अडेप्ट करना शुरू कर देगी. और उससे पहले आप हल्का सुख क्रिया कर लेंगे जो सिंपल प्राणायाम होता है, तो वो भी एड करता है आपको अच्छी नींद आने के लिए. तो आप वो प्रैक्टिस भी कर सकते हैं और उसके बाद आराम से सो सकते हैं.
हाँ ठीक है, मैं समझ गई तुम्हारी बात, क्योंकि एक्चुअली ये कह रहा था कि हमें सिर्फ
Ma'am, Daman ma'am. Okay, yeah. By mistake, she has opened her. I think there are no more questions, Deepika ji. I have one because you said we can do pranayam while sleeping, lying down also.
So I said, yeah. So you can do abdominal breathing, Aparna ji. जो आपको 4 और 8 बताया ना, ये आप ले सकते हैं, आप आराम से करेंगे और ये फोकस करेंगे, इसको ये नींद में भी एड करता है. तो आप देखें, आपको काफी फायदा होगा.
Okay. Thank you so much. All of us have this tendency, when we hear such lectures and we are determined from next day we'll do it. But then the discipline goes away. And that is the real, problem with all of us. So we have to be disciplined. And I'm sure all these exercises and simple exercises of pranayam, conscious breathing, if we are thinking of something else and doing breathing, then probably it is going to disturb our breathing pattern. So we have to do conscious breathing. And I also like the adding om during breathing. So that is also one way of concentration on breathing and not thinking about our daily routine work. So that is also one thing. And the eye exercises were really good because we forget when we work on laptop, we just forget it that we have strained our eyes so much. So I think these eye exercises are also good for us and for the students, especially for the students, because we are taking 1 hour class but they are attending so many classes one after other. So it is very important for them. Thank you so much, Deepika ji, for all the information that you have given. And I'm sure the faculties as well as the students will try these simple exercises regularly so that, we can cope up with the stress and we can control our breathing pattern and have a better life. Thank you so much, Deepika ji.
Thank you so much, Aparna ji, for inviting me, and Meenakshi ji for inviting me. It was wonderful interacting with this group. And Pratibha ji, मुझे आपकी बुक पढ़नी है. Meenakshi ji, आप मुझे दीजिएगा.
Deepika ji,
and explore.
If you will stay for 5 minutes, we'll just take one group photograph. If everyone can switch on their cameras.
Yeah, sure. Deepika ji, it was really very good.
Thank you.
It was very nice.
Thank you so much.
And I think I am so glad that our young students had a lot of questions. So, क्योंकि आजकल इन बच्चों के स्लीप साइकिल्स घर में रहने से बहुत खराब हो गए.
I know. I can understand with youngsters, it becomes a habit because of football or because of videos or because of Netflix, because
physical activity almost zero हुई है. They are more bored. क्या करेंगे? What to say to these people.
But we can do in between whatever Deepika ji suggested, like the stretching exercises on chair and the eye exercises.
Yeah,
that's what we can do.
Yeah. And Meenakshi ji, someday maybe we can plan this with your students. We can teach them some of the yoga practices that they can do during the day. So maybe in future with the session we can just teach them, do 3-4 things that you can always do. So just do this when you get up in the morning. Do those practices.
Deepika ji, whenever you are starting a new batch, you can just share that link. I will pass it on to the students. So if they're interested, they can join and they can learn from you.
For sure. I will.
Yeah.
Deepika ji, can you stress on oxygen level? This problem everyone is facing nowadays. It will be good in case you can tell us something about the oxygen level, how to raise it and it's dropping.
Yeah, so there is this one practice that we recommend a lot. So we recommend you do simple Sukha Kriya, which is basically you close your right nostril and you inhale through left, and then you close your left nostril and then you exhale through right. So and again, so basically this is inhale through left, exhale through right, and then inhale through right and exhale through left. This is one practice, one cycle. If you continue to do this practice, you can see that sometimes if your oxygen levels are dropping, it will help. If you do abdominal breathing, you will see sudden impacts. There is one practice by Sadhguru called Simha Kriya, which is easily freely available. You can just Google it, you'll find it. It's you just watch it, 10-minute video. Watch it and do this practice. It will strengthen your lungs and your immunity in general. So some of these practices, these are very quick practices, and I would, if it is kind of one thing I would recommend is that you all are actually mentors, and you're actually having students with you all. I would just recommend that when you start your class, just make them do this Sukha Kriya for just 3-4 minutes, and you will see that receptivity and their understanding of things. That's something that will definitely be much better. Their concentration would be better. Every day when you start a session, we just kind of started with 2-minute breathing. Just keep your right palm over the chest, left palm on your stomach, and do this. Very simple techniques. It can help overcome work from home, study from home, all the time, online requirement that we all have. It will just help us bring that consciousness to our breathing and help us lead more healthier and happier lives.
Yeah, Deepika ji, as you promised, you can share some links also. So I'll put them in the YouTube recording in the description, so that if the students want, they can look at those links also for further exercises of breathing, what you cannot cover today because of the time restraint. So we'll put that there, like Simha Kriya and all what you are saying.
Yeah. I will share the links, and then you can actually share it with everybody.
You're right.
And yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Namaskaram.